The next thing we want to do for our Concord Commons project is actually pull in a boundary of our project and also some preliminary road work that we can then reference later. So we're going to do this by using an X reference. So if we go back to the Civil 3D workspace, we're going to save our drawing. So File, Save As. Let's save this as step 3 now, just so we don't lose our previous work. And then under the Insert tab, we'll go to References, Attach. So we're going to attach a drawing, which is this Create Site drawing that came from the original zip file. And we need to make sure that the insertion point is specified not on screen but at 0, 0, 0 so that it comes in the correct geographic location. So we'll hit OK. And you should see the X reference drawing right here in the middle of our project space. So what we want to do with this particular drawing is create polylines for the boundary. And right now our surface is a little overwhelming, so let's go to Surface Properties, Information, and let's turn this to No Display or Borders Only, just so that it's not overwhelming our drawing. Now we can go back to Home, and under the Draw tab we're going to go to Polyline, and we're just going to create a polyline that follows along the existing boundaries of this drawing. We want to make sure that our object snaps are turned on, and particularly if you right click, we want to make sure endpoint is turned on. So now we'll go to Polyline and we'll start our polyline down here. It's a little difficult to see also with the map, so I'm going to turn that off as well for now. So Planning and Analysis, Map off, and if we go back to Civil 3D here and go back to the Polyline command, we can very easily click from endpoint to endpoint here. So I'm just tracing over the values that came in from the X reference drawing. And we're going to use this as a boundary for our surface because it defines the extent of our project here, the subdevelopment we're putting together. And let me just close this using C. So there's our first polyline for the boundary. And then I want to use a polyline as well to mimic these 3 roadways. There's one here. There's a roadway that comes around and swoops down and ends in a cul-de-sac. And then there's another branch here of a road. So let's use Shift right click nearest down here as our polyline start, and let's make sure that I actually get onto the correct one here. And there's a little break in the road here. We'll deal with that later. Bring this down around here, shift right click none, just so I don't have to snap to any of this stuff. Hit escape. We'll create another polyline, shift right click, nearest, come down here. We're not going to put the curves in just yet. Make sure we get to this endpoint here. There's another little bend in the road, so I'm going to use none for my object snap, just so I don't get overwhelmed with choices. And then snap to the end there. And then the very last road with a polyline goes from our boundary here. And there's a little break here as well, a little curve. And there appears to be another one up here as well. And then we'll bring that over here. So now that we've got this work done, what we can do is get rid of our X reference. We can detach it. This line here is just from our previous contour labels. So I'm going to turn that off just so it's not in the way. If we go back to Insert, under References, you can go to the Reference Manager here, and you can see the Create Site Drawing. I'm going to right click on it, and then I'm just going to detach it. What we want to do is make sure that our points actually match up here. So you can see that that point doesn't quite match. I clicked to the wrong line, so I'm going to select it, shift right click, do a nearest, and just make sure that it's on the correct line there. Same thing with this point down here. We'll do a nearest, grab a hold of the snap point nearest, come down here, and then over here just make sure that these 2 points match up. So I'll drag this one over. And if we zoom back out, you can see the polyline we have for the boundary, and then we've got one polyline for a road, a second road, and a third road. So at this point, what we want to do is we want to bring back our surface. So if we right click on EG surface and we go back to 2 and 10 contours, you can see our project is this outer polyline, and what we can do is under the surface definition we can add a boundary. So I'm going to right click on boundaries and add, and I'm just going to call this project boundary, and I'm going to select that outer polyline. And you can see it gets rid of quite a bit of our surface definition and allows us to focus just on the area of our project here. At this point we could turn back on the map if we would like. And you can see the boundary of our project here follows along a property line and then a tree line, follows along the existing properties over here, and then meets back up at the roadway. So this is where our subdevelopment is going to go, and we'll continue to work on this in future projects.